I can't believe that you're not alone. Happy as hell, ain't done moved on. But he's a banker down in Austin. I thought you always
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, welcome to my channel. My name's Jessica, and hi! I have not brushed my hair today. It looks a little crazy because I had the windows down the whole way here. It's such a beautiful day outside. I could not drive home without the windows down, blaring Cody Johnson. So that was what I did. That's why my hair looks a little crazy. Don't blame me, blame Kojo. But basically, I have another story time for y'all about my life. I want to talk about my biological dad, how I met him, how our relationship was, and why we don't speak anymore, basically. Before we get started with this video, go ahead, click the subscribe button if you are not subscribed already. I post new videos every week. I think I'm going to start keeping videos posted on Thursdays. I think Thursdays are going to be my day. They were my day in the past, and then I kind of just uploaded whenever, weekly, but I think I'm going to try to keep it on a Thursday. Hopefully that works out. If it doesn't, I don't know, I'm sorry. I'm trying to keep on schedule, but it's hard because I have church and I have Bible study and I have work and I have a life, so it's hard to keep up with YouTube sometimes, but I'm doing the best I can. Yeah, so just subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any videos no matter what day they come out on. Yeah, I'm just going to hop right into this video. Basically, if you haven't seen my other story time video that happened when I was 17, go check it out. I talk a little bit about what happened during that year of my life. That was the year I found out my dad wasn't my real dad. So before you get started with this video, just to catch you up, go watch that video first. I'll have a card right here and also link in the description. So go check that one out first and then come right back to this one. But I talked a little bit about my dad and my biological dad, how I was told that my dad wasn't my biological dad, because for 17 years of my life, I thought my dad was my real dad. But then I come to find out that he's not. So moving on from that, I didn't care to reach out to my biological dad. I didn't care to really know about him up until I was 19. It just wasn't really in my willpower to care. I guess it was just because I knew that if I, reached out to my biological dad, my dad would be genuinely hurt. So that's why I kind of just stuck it in the back of my head. I didn't really care to reach out to this guy who obviously didn't care to reach out to me. Where was he for the past 17 years? I don't know. I was 19 that my godmom told my mom that she found his current girlfriend, wife on Facebook. So she wrote down the girlfriend's name. My mom gave it to me. She gave me it on a piece of paper, told me I could message her whenever I wanted to. I had that piece of paper for about 2 weeks. Contemplating back and forth whether I should message this lady. What do I say if I do message her? I didn't know how to go about it. I didn't know if I even really cared to talk to this guy, if I really cared to know about him or his life. But, I'm still curious. At the end of the day, that's the guy. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for that guy. So I was still a little curious. So basically, during that 2 weeks, I stalked her a little bit on Facebook. I did the most stalking I could because she had most of her stuff on private. So annoying. But I saw my biological dad on a picture. I realized that he looked like a literal combination of my dad and my stepdad. If you put my dad and my stepdad together, it makes my biological dad. So I stalked a little bit, saw him. Saw that they had 2 kids together, one that was hers and another little girl that they had together. So technically the little girl would have been my half-sister. She was 7. So very big, drastic age gap between the 2 of us. And after stalking for a little while, I got the balls that I needed, and I texted her. I sent her a message on Facebook. I have the exact message in front of me, and I sent her a message, and I said, sorry, Looking at this, it just brings back those feelings like when I sent it. Like I remember sending this message. I remember typing this message and being so nervous. And then when I actually sent it, I was like terrified and there was like butterflies in my stomach. And then like, I wish I could have deleted it. And it was just so many emotions. Like it was just crazy because, I don't know, it was just crazy. This is the exact message. I said, hello. You probably don't know who I am, and you're probably wondering why this random girl is messaging you. My name is Jessica Bergman. Robert was my mom, Shanna's first love. She got pregnant when she was 16, and she had me when she was 17. I grew up with divorced parents, my mom and my dad, Christopher. 2 years ago, my dad told me he wasn't my real dad, and I took it really hard. I found out that my biological dad is your husband, Robert. I'm 19 years old now, and I'm questioning a lot about myself and where I come from. I'm sure this is a lot to take in, and I understand if you don't really want anything to do with me. I've been debating for 2 weeks if I should message you because I was scared of the response, but I thought I should at least try and reach out to you and Robert. Okay, so I sent that October 30th of 2015 to this lady. She read it, and she did not respond back to me. So I was like, cool. She wants nothing to do with me. So that was October 30th. About 2 weeks later, on November 12th, I sent the same message. I copied and pasted it and sent it back to her. She replied the very next day, and she said, hi, sorry my phone is kind of crappy. I just saw last night that you tried to reach me last month. I do know about your mom, and he did tell me there was a child that may or may not have been his. I don't remember the whole story, but it's not mine to tell. I understand why you'd want some answers. If I was in your shoes, I would also. I think it was very brave of you. Robert's working out of town right now, but when he's home Sunday, I can show him your message. Just out of curiosity, how did you find me in your search for him? And blah, 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 blah. Like, we had a whole conversation. She was very, very nice. She told me that she wasn't even trying to ignore me, that her phone was just crappy. Then she like proceeded to tell me that I look just like their daughter, my technically half sister. And it's true. Like if you put our baby pictures next to each other, like we look identical. But yeah, she ended up being really, really nice and really cool about it. So when Robert got back in town on Sunday, Robert is my biological dad, by the way, if y'all haven't picked up on that. But when he got back in town on Sunday, he called me and he was asking me like questions like what I wanted to know, like blah, 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 blah. And I was like, I don't really want to do this over the phone. I want to do this in person. I want to do this face to face. So he lived in Dallas. I lived in Willis. So he told me that he travels down that way all the time to go to Galveston for work. So he said that he would come meet me that weekend in Willis and we could, you know, meet and talk about it. And so I was like, okay, that sounds good. So we met at a Starbucks in Willis. I got there before he did. I was terrified. Like I was absolutely terrified. PJ came with me. He went and walked around because it was like a Starbucks inside of a Kroger. So he like walked around the Kroger and I sat there in Starbucks and I saw him like walk up and I just knew it was him. Like I knew it was my biological dad. He was shorter than I thought he was gonna be. He was skinnier than I thought he was gonna be. But he definitely looked like me, or I looked like him. We sat down, we talked. I asked him why he left me. I asked him why he didn't reach out to me. And basically he told me that he wanted to, but he never did because he didn't know if I knew about him. He didn't want to ruin a relationship between me, my mom, and my dad. He said he knew nothing about me, he knew nothing about my living situation, and he didn't want to be a burden on top of that. Half of y'all might say that's bullshit, half of y'all might say that makes sense. I'm with the that makes sense percentage because honestly, like if he would have gotten a hold of me before my dad told me he wasn't my dad, or before I realized I was ready to meet him, I probably would have hated it. So I understand like where he was coming from. Like I respect him for not, you know, jumping into my life or telling me he was my dad or anything like that. I respect that. So like we had some laughs. It was really awkward. Like it was Akko Taco. But we got through it. Then it started to become like a regular thing. He would drive from Dallas to work to Galveston, and when he was driving through, he would always stop and we would get lunch or we would get dinner or whatever. I drove to him a couple times to Dallas. That Christmas, he got me like a couple guns. He was a good guy. He was. Meanwhile, my dad had no idea. I did not tell my dad I met up with Robert. I did not tell my dad that I was interested in building a relationship with Robert. Honestly, I don't even think he still knows to this day. And he subscribed to my YouTube channel, so I'm sure if he's watching this, I don't even know how he'd react. And also, on top of that, Robert's girlfriend slash wife, Jessica, her name's Jessica too, she's also on my social media, so I'm sure she might be watching this, which means he might be watching this. So honestly, like, I'm really putting myself out there. But I never told my dad because I knew if I told my dad that that was what I wanted to do, he would shun me. There was one time where I told him that I was interested in maybe talking to him before I met up with Robert, and he went like ballistic on me. He was like, he's not your dad, like screw him, like why would you want a relationship with this awful man? He was not happy about it. I understood why. Like, he was my dad and he didn't want that to be taken away from him. I just never really told him about me trying to like build a relationship with my biological dad. And honestly, to this day, he probably still has no idea unless he's watching this video. Me and Robert were starting to have like a relationship. It was hard for me. For him, it seemed easy. For me, it was hard. Like, I was still uncomfortable with it. I told him, I wrote him a letter. I gave it to him at Starbucks the day I met him and told him to read it. It was a letter I had wrote to him before I met him, a letter I wrote to him before I even knew who he was. And basically, like, explaining my feelings, my emotions, telling him he would never be my dad. And I hope he respected that. He read it, he told me that he respected that. He says he's not trying to be my dad, blah, 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 blah. And I thought we were on the same page. Not that much longer after I had met him, like I told y'all, he lived in Dallas. Well, PJ, he graduated college and then he got a job, and he got the job in Dallas. So we moved our life to Dallas. The only person I knew there was Robert. So we started spending more time with him. He started like paying me to babysit my little half sister. He would, you know, buy me things. He would, you know, give me money. It seemed like he was kind of buying my love a little bit, but like I honestly wasn't complaining. But he was a good guy for the most part. But things just started getting like really weird. I really don't want to put all the information out there, basically, because I just don't want to throw anybody under the bus. Basically, he was doing something that I didn't agree with. And so I was already being like weirded out by it. He got me another gun for Christmas that year. So we went to the gun range. He was taking like pictures of me on his phone. I went to go send myself those pictures from his phone to me. Well, in his contacts, my name was under my first daughter. And honestly, like, that was what kind of turned me off from him, because I felt like we weren't on the same page. I wasn't looking at him like a dad. And like, we would go to restaurants and the waiters would ask if he was my dad, and he would always say yes. I never said anything to him because I didn't know how to say it to him, but I was just so uncomfortable with it all. I was uncomfortable thinking that he thought that we were going to be like father-daughter, and it just wasn't going to happen. I think that he invested more into our relationship than I did at the end of the day, and that's kind of why we don't talk anymore. He would text me, he would call me, he would ask me, like, he did everything right. I just personally, I didn't expect it to go that fast, and I didn't expect it to go that way. And honestly, I didn't need another dad in my life. So I kind of cut him out of my life completely, and I just stopped talking to him. And I know it sounds like really, really wrong and really bad, but I just couldn't bring myself to love him the way he loved me. I just cut him out. I stopped talking to him, and I still feel like really bad about it, and I wish I could explain to him like why I did it, but it's hard to explain. It's just my heart, it's my feelings. Thought I wanted to know my biological dad, but it turns out that I didn't really want to know him. I didn't want to have a relationship with him. I got the answers I was seeking, and that was all I needed. That's why we don't talk anymore. Honestly, it's not that long of a story, but I thought I'd share it because I realized after coming out about what happened to me and my dad at 17 that I've gotten a lot of messages from a lot of girls that have had either the exact same thing happen to them or something super duper similar. And I realized that I'm not the only one that's going through this or went through that or had trouble with it. Like, a lot of y'all do. And so it's nice to like help somebody through it. If you have any kind of like gut feeling telling you to seek out your biological parent, but you don't know how or like if you should, the best advice I can give you is to just do it. Even if you get turned down, to just do it, because at least you can say you tried. It will never be easy. It'll never be an easy thing to do. And it never gets easier, to be honest. But it's still good to, you know, put your foot out there, go for it, and get the closure you need. I honestly feel like I kind of got blessed in a way that my biological dad actually met up with me. He actually talked to me. He gave me the answers I wanted. He tried to have a relationship with me. And I got blessed because a lot of people have biological parents that are either dead or don't want anything to do with, you know, their biological kid. I definitely did get blessed. I don't take anything for granted at all. And I know it might sound a little bit like I do because I kind of just like pushed him out of my life, but I already explained why I did that. But yeah, that was just another story time for me about my life. I'm like putting myself out there for you guys. Like, I have been through it all. Like, I've been through the ringer. So I'll probably have like more story times to share with y'all about like my personal experiences, my life, like etc. Like, I hope you enjoy these videos because they're coming for you. If you do enjoy them, please give it a big thumbs up so like I know you like hearing about my personal issues. Nobody's perfect. You live and you learn it. Alright, well, that's the end of my video. I hope you liked this video. I hope I helped somebody, anybody out there with something. If not, I hope I entertained you with my life or maybe cleared some things up, or I don't know, something. I don't know. I will see y'all in the next YouTube video, and don't forget Thursdays, every Thursday. I'm gonna try, y'all. I'm gonna try. Bye.
I can't believe that you're not alone. Happy as hell, ain't done moved on.